The chime of my phone pierced through the stillness of a typical Tuesday evening, an email notification pulling me away from the comfort of a detective novel. Reluctantly, I reached for the device, expecting nothing more than a mundane update from work or perhaps a promotional email. Instead, the sender was unrecognizable, the subject line ominously simple: truth about your marriage. Initially, I scoffed at the melodramatic phrasing, my finger hovering over the delete button. But something, perhaps the unsettling quiet of the house or my own unchecked curiosity, compelled me to open it. The email was curt, almost clinical in its delivery, but the contents were anything but mundane. Attached were several photos and a detailed exposition describing dates, locations, and intimate moments between my wife, Clara, and another man. No, not just another man, but two men, reveling in what seemed to be regular clandestine meetups. The prose was spiteful, the tone vindictive. According to the sender, he was one of the participants, recently ostracized and burning for retribution. The images were damning. There was Clara, unmistakably vibrant even in the dim light of what looked like a posh hotel room, her laughter frozen in time, her arm draped carelessly around a man I'd never seen. Another photo captured a toast, 3 glasses raised in a cheer I hadn't been part of. My initial reaction was disbelief. This had to be some sick joke, a phishing attempt, perhaps. But as I scrolled through the digital missive, each detail resonated with uncomfortable truth: the mentions of her late returns home, her distracted smiles, the recent weekend retreat she attended alone because I was too busy with work. Anger swelled within me, hot and uncontrollable. I stood up, pacing the length of our living room, each step echoing louder as the reality settled in. My wife, my partner of nearly a decade, had not only betrayed me but had mocked me with her deceit. Driven by a tumult of emotions, I confronted Clara that night. She returned home late, her face flushed from the crisp autumn air, or perhaps from guilt. Her smile faltered as she noticed my grim expression, the printed photos I'd left conspicuously on the kitchen counter. "James, who are they?" My voice was a low growl, foreign to my own ears. Her eyes widened, darting toward the door as if contemplating escape. "It's not what you think." "But it's exactly as I see," I cut her off, holding up the damning evidence. "How long, Clara?" The conversation was a blur of tears, accusations, and half-hearted explanations. None of it mattered. The trust was shattered, irreparable. In the following weeks, the divorce proceedings unfolded with a sterile precision. We became two strangers negotiating the terms of our separation over the sterile click of lawyers' keyboards. As the final papers were signed, I looked at Clara, really looked at her for the first time since that fateful night. There was no love left, just the hollow remnants of what had been. We parted ways outside the attorney's office, the chilly breeze sweeping away the last vestiges of a union built on lies. That email, whether intended as a cruel joke or genuine revenge from a discarded lover, had irrevocably altered the course of my life. But as I walked away, a plan began to form in my mind, a way to channel the rage and betrayal into something tangible. Revenge would be cold, it would be calculated, and most of all, it would be devastating. I would ensure that neither of them would ever forget the man they had wronged. The days following the divorce are a blur of restless nights and brooding silences, my mind replaying every lie Clara had told with cinematic precision. I throw myself into work, but the images of her betrayal, branded into my memory, poison every moment of pretended normality. The need for retribution grows, a persistent whisper urging me to act. One evening, as I scroll listlessly through social media, I come across a post from the man in the photos, the one Clara had clung to with such carefree joy. His profile is public, a smug display of a life filled with parties and travel. Seeing his face, grinning next to Clara in a newly posted picture, reignites the smoldering anger. I decide it's time to move, to transform the anger into action. I start by gathering information. It's disturbingly easy. His posts are a roadmap to his habits and haunts. I note the bars he frequents, the gym he boasts about attending, and the upscale apartment complex he calls home. Each detail is a piece in the puzzle of my revenge. One night, I wait outside one of his favorite bars, a sleek spot downtown known for its exclusivity. I lean against my car, feigning nonchalance, as I watch him laugh and flirt his way through the crowd on the outdoor patio. The sight fuels my resolve. He leaves alone close to midnight, stumbling slightly, the effects of his indulgence is evident. I follow him at a safe distance as he makes his way to the parking lot. Just as he fumbles for his keys, I step out of the shadows. "Having a good night?" I ask, my voice calm, detached. He startles, squinting at me. "Do I know you?" "No, but we have someone in common," I say, stepping closer. The streetlight casts long shadows, and I see his confusion shift to wariness. "What are you talking about?" he demands, steadying himself against his car. "Clara," I say simply, watching as the name registers, watching as his stance stiffens. "What about her?" His attempt at defiance is feeble, his eyes darting around the empty parking lot. "I know everything, about you and her. And about how you and your friend decided to play games with her husband." My words are sharp, each one delivered with precision. "I don't know what you're—" "Save it," I cut him off, stepping closer. "I'm not here to make scenes. I'm here to make a deal." He swallows, his earlier confidence evaporating. "What kind of deal?" "A simple one. You're going to leave town. You're going to disappear from her life, from my life, and if you don't," I pause, letting the threat hang heavy in the air, "those pictures won't just be a bad memory. They'll be everywhere." His face drains of color. "You can't." "I can. And I will." I toss an envelope onto his car hood. "There's a ticket in there. One way. You leave tonight, or tomorrow everyone you know sees what a great time you've been having." He scrambles to open the envelope, his fingers trembling. The ticket inside is real, the threat, palpable. "This is insane," he mutters. "This is mercy," I correct him coldly. "Take it while it's offered." I watch him, every muscle tensed, as he struggles with the decision. Finally, he nods, defeated. Okay. I'll go." "Good choice," I say, my voice void of warmth. I watch him drive off, the part of me hungry for vengeance satiated, for now. As I drive home, the night feels different, charged with the electric thrill of a plan set into motion. But this is just the beginning. Clara and her remaining companion still need to learn the cost of their betrayal. The wheels are in motion, and there's no turning back now. The departure of the first betrayer feels like a minor victory in an ongoing war, a necessary maneuver to isolate my primary target, Clara. The quiet that follows his exit is deceptive, charged with the anticipation of the next move in this chess game of revenge. As the city hums around me, my plan sharpens, each step meticulously plotted to ensure maximum impact. With the first man out of the picture, I focus on the remaining link in their sordid chain. It's time to bring the battle closer to home, directly to Clara. Over the next few days, I keep a low profile, observing her from a distance. It's crucial to understand her routine now that her little circle has been broken. One Thursday afternoon, I watch as she leaves work earlier than usual. Her steps seem hurried, agitated. Curiosity piqued, I follow her discreetly. She heads straight to a quaint cafe downtown, a spot we once frequented together in happier times. She chooses a secluded table at the back. Minutes tick by until another figure joins her, the remaining man from the photos, unmistakable even from a distance. I slip into a chair at a nearby table, obscured by a strategically placed plant. Their conversation is a low murmur, but I catch snippets of anxious dialogue. "He's gone, just left without a word," Clara's voice trembles, a mixture of confusion and fear lacing her words. "I know, he called me before he left. Said someone made him an offer he couldn't refuse," the man replies, his tone edged with suspicion. Their unease is palpable, and it fuels me. I wait for a moment of heightened tension before approaching their table. Their shock at seeing me is deeply satisfying. "James, why are you here?" Clara stammers, her face draining of color. I think you know why, I say calmly, my gaze fixed on her companion. You're the next on my list. He stands abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. What do you want? It's simple, I begin, my voice steady and commanding. You will end whatever this is with Clara. Today. Or the consequences will be severe. Clara reaches out, her hand trembling. James, please, let's just talk. There's nothing left to discuss, I interrupt coldly. I gave you everything, and you chose to deceive me. Turning to the man, I hand him an envelope similar to the one I gave his friend. You have 24 hours to disappear. If you don't, your life as you know it ends. Your job, your family, everyone will know the truth. The man's eyes flicker with fear, and he nods, understanding the gravity of my threat. Clara sobs quietly, her composure crumbling. As I walk away, I don't look back. The cafe fades into the background, along with the remnants of the life I once believed in. The satisfaction of seeing them squirm under the weight of their choices provides a cold comfort. But there's more to be done. Clara still needs to face the full wrath of my betrayal. As I plan my next move, the city seems to echo my resolve. Streets I once walked with Clara now pave the path of my revenge. The game is far from over, and I am nowhere near done. The city is drenched in twilight as I stand outside the apartment we once shared, now just another building in my mosaic of betrayal. The steps I've taken over the past few weeks culminate tonight, the final act in my calculated drama of vengeance. The air is thick with the threat of rain, mirroring the storm brewing within me. I walk up the familiar path, each step echoing the heartbeat of my resolve. The weight of the envelope in my coat feels like a stone, heavy with the finality of what I am about to do. Inside, evidence of Clara's deceit and details of my demands are meticulously compiled, ready to be delivered to her employer and family. Tonight, Clara's world will crumble. I reach her door and knock firmly, the sound a grim prelude to the confrontation. Moments later, she answers, her face pale, eyes red-rimmed from crying. The sight of her vulnerability momentarily steadies my resolve, but the memory of her betrayal fuels my purpose. James, what are you doing here? Her voice is a whisper, a mix of fear and resignation. I'm here to end this, Clara. I step inside, uninvited, the familiarity of the apartment twisting the knife of our shared past deeper. You thought you could play me for a fool and get away with it. James, please, I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Her plea is desperate, tinged with the realization of her impending doom. Sorry doesn't change what you did, I reply coldly, my hand gripping the envelope. Everyone will know the truth. Your parents, your boss, your friends. By tomorrow, you'll have nothing left. Her eyes widen with terror. You can't do this. Please, think about the good times we had, the love we shared. The love we shared was a lie, Clara. Just like everything else about you. I toss the envelope onto the coffee table with a dramatic flair. It spills open, photos and emails scattering like the shattered pieces of our marriage. No, James, don't do this. She lunges for the envelope, trying to stuff the evidence back inside. I grab her wrists, holding them tightly, my eyes locked onto hers. It's too late for regrets. You did this to yourself. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. We both freeze. Clara's eyes flicker with a spark of hope, mine with annoyance. Reluctantly, I release her and stride to the door, yanking it open to reveal a bewildered pizza delivery guy. Wrong door, wrong time. As I shut the door and turn around, the world slows. Clara stands by the window, the rain finally breaking through the clouds, mirroring her tears. Then, in a fleeting moment of madness, or perhaps clarity, she opens the window and climbs onto the ledge. Clara, get back inside. My command is sharp, the scenario spiraling beyond my control. But she looks back at me with a sorrow so profound it chills my blood. You've taken everything, James. What's left isn't worth living for. Before I can move, before I can scream, she steps off the ledge, disappearing into the stormy night below. The sound of her body hitting the ground is a grotesque punctuation to our tragic story. I rush to the window, peering down at the irreversible conclusion of our saga. The street below is chaotic, lights blurring through my tears, sirens wailing a mournful dirge. I sink to the floor, the enormity of my revenge crashing down around me. In seeking retribution, I've not only destroyed the betrayer, but also the remnant of the man I once was. The victory is hollow, the cost unspeakable. The final chapter closes on a scene of devastation, a life ended, and another irreparably broken. Our paths part forever in the most tragic of ways, the deception and betrayal leaving nothing but ruin in their wake.